Hey everybody, welcome back. Saturday in the shop here. We're going to get back on the Top Fuel bike. We committed to go to Cycle Showcase in St. Louis. It's the first weekend in February. If you're not familiar with this show, it's a really cool show, indoor show. I'll put a link in the description to their Instagram. You can check that out if you're interested. It feels like we have plenty of time, but we really have, maybe 5 weeks to get this bike finished. Obviously, it's an indoor show. The bike doesn't need to be running, but I still want to have it completely assembled, wired, all that stuff. Waiting on a rear tire to get here. So today we're going to work on getting the front end all put together as far as like the hand controls. I think I'm going to need a new rear brake line, so I'll have to measure for that. Possibly some fittings. We need to polish some stuff up. The throttle mechanism is a little shaky, so I want to try and see if I can maybe put a bushing or something. I got to take it apart and see what's going on there. The left-hand grip, I believe, was completely missing from the bike. I have to look back at my original pictures. What else? Maybe work on the air dam. We got to get that all cleaned up, get the old stickers off. We'll have to reprint some new stickers and install those. Juan was working on those for me on the iPad, replicating the old Performance Machine stickers that we couldn't find. And I don't know. That might be it for the day. If we can get all that done, I'll be pretty happy. Maybe we'll cut the number plate that goes on the front end and figure out about how we're going to mount that. The tire will be here next week, and that'll let us really get a jump on getting the back all put together. We have the tail section in the base red, but all the airbrush work needs to be done, so hopefully coming up this week or next we'll get to that. I need to finish building the distributor or timing unit, whatever, and I got to figure out how to strip all this old blue anodizing off some of these old fittings that look nasty. So if anybody knows how to strip anodizing easily with some kind of household chemicals or whatever, please let me know. I've done it before years and years ago, and I can't remember what I used. So if anybody has any tips on that, please let me know. Something else I want to mention, and then we'll get to work. We're doing something kind of fun over on our Instagram. Link will be in the description to that. If you're on Instagram and you don't follow us already, please go over and check it out. We're doing something called the 8 Days of Christmas. Started it last Tuesday. We're making every morning one custom one-off part. Just all kinds of different stuff. Made a gas cap today. Cool custom brake setup one day. Some cool flared exhaust tips. The heck else did I make? Some cool Springer spike nuts. So anyway, check that stuff out. We're selling it all at like real discounted rates from what it would normally cost to have us do it. I've posted a little bit on here in the community posts if you guys ever look at those, and a couple of shorts. But anyway, check it out on Instagram. Just something we kind of thought would be fun to do for the holiday. And that's it. I'm going to get to work and try and get all these hand controls and stuff situated on this bike. Alright, so got our standard drag bars on here. Got to tighten those up, obviously. We got these old original PM controls. I'm going to give these a quick polish. Take these levers off. Get them cleaned up. Do both sides of these. Then we'll come back and get them mounted on the bike. Alright, so we got our stuff pretty polished up here. I didn't go crazy. Again, this not being a show bike, I don't want to make it too nice and really kind of deviate from what it originally was. So we're just trying to clean it up. Obviously, once it's all put together, it'll get a full detail. I don't want to go crazy making a super clean and lose the nostalgia feel of it. So I am changing out hardware and stuff that looks real crappy in favor of stainless steel hardware. So things like that, but just trying to keep the vintage feel as much as possible while making it look fresh and clean. I'm really looking at these bars, and these bars really kind of look like shit too. I'm wondering if I should take them off and do something with them before I put all this together. Try and find a different set of bars. Well, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. We can always pop them off and swap them out. I want to measure for the brake lines and stuff today anyway, so even if we decide to change them, it won't be too big of a deal. Alright, so we got our throttle side brake on. This is our front brake. We got our front brake line. Also, we're reusing those. They looked nice enough. There are a couple blue anodized fittings on this setup, which we've established I don't really care for, but some people seem to think I blew it by getting rid of the blue anodized fittings, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next thing. So the original builder of this bike got away from a twist throttle and went with a lever throttle because he felt it helped him control the launch better. So it's kind of hard to see here. Let's see if you can. There's a lot of slop in this though. So I'm going to take this apart and see if we can't maybe oversize this bolt hole. And in doing so, get this tightened up. Or maybe I'll make a little bushing or something. So we're going to take this apart and see what we can come up with. Alright, so we can see this hole is pretty walled out. Problem is there is no meat on this thing at all. Looks like it's got a number 10 screw in it right now. And what we might have to do is put it in the mill. Let me see here. God, I don't know. There is not a lot of meat to work with to like upsize it to a quarter. Maybe we could go 6 millimeter. And if we put it in the mill and I offset the hole, because we are just like razor thin over here, and I can't really, they got it shaved down like that because they really needed to relieve inside of here more. So not sure what I'm going to do here yet. I'm going to go see what kind of hardware I can come up with and see if I can make a play in here. Alright, so I did some digging, and 5 millimeter is just slightly bigger than the 1024 that was in there. And it really significantly tightened this up. I think I just need to get a little 5 millimeter spring washer, and that'll give us what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and get these parts cleaned up. But we're going to get this stuff cleaned up. I need to get a longer 5 millimeter bolt and a spring washer and a nut and all that, but at least we got that figured out. So this is all part of the grip. Really nice, you know, solid billet piece they machined. Unfortunately, the left hand grip is gone, so after I get this all cleaned up, the next thing I'm going to do is make a grip for the left hand control. Alright, so we got our grip and our throttle level all cleaned up. Really cleaned up nicely. I am by no means a professional polisher, but just clean them up a little bit, give them a shine. Replace the old crusty hardware with some stainless steel button heads. Alright, we got our throttle lever, which we're going to just put this short 6 millimeter or 5 millimeter in for now because I don't have the right one. And So there we go. We got our throttle. We got our brake lever here just underneath. And our throttle, the cable will come out and run down to the throttle body here. And we'll use some brake clean. I got a little bit of rouge left on from polishing. And next thing we got to do is head out to the lathe and make a grip, because the left-hand grip was completely gone. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper, take a couple of measurements, jot down some notes, and we'll go out and try and make as close of a copy to this grip as we can for our left-hand side. Alright, so I'm just going to take a couple notes here. Outside diameter here is 1 inch 223, so they obviously started with some 1.25 inch material. Our end section is 1 inch 163, 4.55, and then our inside diameter is going to be 7/8 or slightly over 7/8 to slide over our bar. That grip, I'll just use some set screws that will go in right here in our little inside smooth section. And it's got a light knurling. I think my knurling tool should be able to do that nice light knurl like that without too much trouble. I don't have the nicest knurling tool, but it should get this done close enough. So we're going to try and see what we can come up with and make a nice match.
So we got a piece of 1.25 inch round bar in. First step, obviously, we're going to bore it out. We don't want to go all the way through because we want a nice end cap on the grip. So 7/8 twist drill, got that job done. Now we're going to slide it out. Got our live center in place, and we're going to start our first pass. We just need to cut it down to our outside diameter we measured off of our grip we're copying. It was 1 inch 220, I believe. So just a quick couple passes, not a lot to take off. You can just get a nice clean finish. You don't want to ever knurl on top of the mill finish material. It really doesn't come out looking that nice. So got our knurling tool in here. If anybody has any really nice knurling tools they use and they like, let me know, because I've tried several different kind of inexpensive ones and I never can get knurl exactly how I want. It just, the cross hatching is not great and they're always kind of light. I really like a nice heavy coarse knurl, and I've never been able to find that. So if you guys have a knurling tool you use, please let me know in the comments or send me an email or something like that. I really appreciate it. So anyway, we got the knurling pass done. Came out decent for what I was wanting. And anyway, we jumped over, chopped that off on our Evolution chop saw. And now we're just facing the end off, getting our final length. Putting our steps in it is a little bit cut down on each end. Gonna put our radius cutter in here, cut a 3/8 radius, couple chamfers, flip it around, cut our relief area where we're gonna drill for our set screws to hold it on the bars, and we're done. Nice grip. Took a little bit of time, but really close match.
Alright, so we got our grip made up on the lathe. Pretty close match, not perfect. I gotta drill it for some set screws, but I gotta see what kind of set screws I got. I like to use brake clean to clean off. On the hand controls, there's a bunch of rouge left from the polisher, so brake clean takes that right off. And these levers on the hand controls don't match, which might make me a little bit insane, but I doubt there's any chance of getting any levers for these things. They're old performance machine, and I kind of doubt, although I do have a new, yeah, there ain't no way that's gonna fit. So I might I don't know, they're a little crusty looking too, so maybe we'll pull those off and just have Tony paint them black when he's painting black. But happy with the grip, matches the other side pretty well. And I don't know, these bars really probably need to be painted too, but anyway. Not even sure if this is the original bars. It really doesn't look like it. I might try and find some chromoly drag bars PMFR used to make them. PMFR has long been out of business. There's a new company, Grothus Drag Bikes, I believe, that took over kind of making a lot of the PMFR stuff. So I might check them out, see if I can get a set of chromoly drag bars, and I'll just swap to those. Alright, so next up on the agenda is this air dam. It has seen better days. Looks like it's smashed into some stuff and been welded a few times, so I'm going to go ahead and dress all these welds off. I'm going to sand off all these old PMFR stickers, or PM rather, and I was able to find a brand new old stock Rivera Engineering decal, so this will go back on. I'm going to clean this up, hammer out some of these dents, sand it, and then I'm not going to polish it, I think I'm going to go like with a brushed finish, but getting it cleaned up and looking fresh for the bike is the main goal. So maybe I'll polish it and see how it looks. If I don't like that, Scotch-Brite in the polish makes it look nice when it's done. So, but it is just nasty, filthy inside here. I'm going to drop it in the ultrasonic for a few minutes, let that run, and then take it outside and do some metal work.
So here we are, started out with our flap wheel 36 grit disc on there to sand off all the old welds, get that cleaned up as much as we can. And then I started with the DA, worked my way through 80, 180, 320, just obviously getting the old decals removed, getting everything cleaned up as best we can. Still some scratches in there, but overall cleaned up pretty good for how rough everything was. This took a little bit of time. I think I spent almost an hour. So you're seeing an hour worth of work condensed down into a minute or two here. But really happy with that. Once I got all the DA sanded done, I switched over to our Eastwood Contour SCT with a Scotch-Brite drum on it. These are really cool tools. Actually, I believe Harbor Freight has a knockoff version of it, which is basically the exact same thing for half the money. Really handy for getting nice smooth finishes on stuff if you don't want to polish.
Alright, well, it's not perfect, but this thing cleaned up really pretty nice considering whoever sanded the welds originally looks like they used like a stone to sand it, and there's just some real deep gouges that we can't get out. I thought about remaking this, but I really want to utilize as much of the original parts as possible, and so we're going to just live with it. It cleaned up, I'd say, you know, maybe 80%, and once we get the decals back on there, it's going to look really good on the bike.
Came back inside, want to test fit this. Did have to do a little bit of hammering on some bends, want to make sure everything fits right, and our hole lines up for our Zeus fastener. Everything looked good. I did notice, though, the aluminum was not dimpled for the Zeus fastener to sit flat. So after making sure everything fit and it all lined up, I went ahead and pulled it back off and grabbed our little dimple die so that we could put a dimple in there just so the Zeus fastener will lay a little flatter, and I can pop rivet the Zeus fastener to the aluminum panel.
Okay, yeah. I got it. Little dimple in there for the Zeus fastener. Do you know where my decal, my one decal?
The big one, right?
Yeah, it's the only one.
That stayed aluminum, right? Looking.
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect because
no, it wasn't.
It looks like they freaking
just hammered it up and put it.
well, it looks like they ground the welds like with a stone.
Yeah.
and there's some real deep.
Because that's what I noticed when the bike was here.
Yeah, there's some
really
real
rough.
deep ones, but it cleaned up pretty good. I D8'd it like 80, 180, 320, and then I used that that drum thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so it cleaned up pretty good.
I'm thinking not next week because it's that Christmas week. The week after, I'll bring in the stuff and I'll start airbrushing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to tape it like today and then leave the tape on there.
Yeah.
I want to tape it, shoot what I got to shoot, and then that way I get the tape off.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to leave any impression.
That's fine, yeah.
You know.
I was thinking Tuesday, since we're just probably not going to work the whole day anyway, we might just fucking clean.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah.
because number one,
I was going to ask you for clothes. I want to make a...
the pipes for this bike are nowhere to be found.
I was looking yesterday, and Matt said he was looking today. I don't know if it might be under the pile that's in the corner here.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, so I figure
So
at least we got to find those, and we need to do a major anyway.
That's fine. That's fine.
So
we're going to be close then? I want to make a thing.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to...
I wouldn't put that word closed, just put half. Where did you find the stickers online?
This one I found. The other one, Juan took pictures of it, and he reworked them in the Procreate, and then we can...
Wow.
Yeah.
That's about the best I got on it.
That's perfect.
That'll work?
Yeah.
Good.
Right, I'll send you that one.
Alright, so we got our chin spoiler on. We're waiting on, we got to print a couple of decals. Got our handlebars all set. At least mock up. Can't measure the brake line until we put the rear wheel in. I forgot about that. We need to get our belt here cleaned up. Once we get the belt on, also I ordered a couple bearings. This thing has a belt tensioner system on it, so those bearings should be here actually today. So if they show up, possibly we'll be able to get the rest of this stuff put together, but I'm not holding my breath that they actually show up on time because it is the holidays and shipping is a mess. So, did you turn the air up?
Did I?
Yeah.
No. It's on 68.
I'm sweating.
Please don't torture me.
It's sick. I mean, real, like, what's wrong with me?
I'm going to open the door and just sweep again.
No, you know, I mean, that is bizarre.
Because you're moving too fast.
But I'm not, I mean, it's 68 degrees and I'm sweating.
I swear.
Alright, so we got our belt all cleaned up and on. Just kind of test fitting. This is our outer bearing support plate. Our chain roller, these are our bearings that are bad. We got new ones coming. And then all this goes together. I'm going to get this stuff cleaned up and polished. And that might be it for the day with all the parts we got. We'll see if those bearings happen to show up. If they do, in the next little bit, maybe we'll put this all together after I get it cleaned up here.
That's probably a smart decision.
Alright, so we got our parts all cleaned up, brush finish. Just going to go ahead and slide it in place now. And going to wait for our bearings for this, and then we'll get the rest of this primer put together. Alright guys, one last part that we're going to remake on this bike. So this was the spacer they had in here on this bearing support primary thing. Just an old rusty piece of tubing. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new one out of a piece of aluminum round bar. Just look a little nicer. Fit all this nice machine parts that they did. And I'm guessing probably somewhere along the line there was an aluminum one in there that got lost. And they used what they had handy to get the bike back together, as is often done in racing. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
One coil per cylinder?
Yeah, because dual plug heads.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, yeah.
So the West Virginia crew's going to St. Louis.
Yeah.
At least we'll know somebody there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice that they're going.
Yeah. All right, so this is our air shift tank setup that I honestly do not understand exactly how it works. So I'm going to get a hold of the original builder. He's been like more than super helpful when I had questions and stuff, because I just don't understand. There's nowhere to fill this, and it uses this electric air valve, which I get, but I don't know how you put air in here. So these two things too were mounted kind of janky, so these are going to be one of the things that we redo on here. I'm going to mount them a little bit nicer. That'll be next week when we get into this, after I do a little digging and try and figure out how this works. And this comes off here too. This will be nice. I can put this in the lathe and clean it up just so it looks nicer.
Just give them like a little tiny bit off.
No, you just even to just sand it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with the emery paper.
Yep.
Just to get it fresh. And then I'm going to make like a, I think I'm going to make like a tubing clamp to hold this to the frame here, because it was mounted like with just some of those like rubber cable ties. And then I ordered a new lever because this one is really kind of janky.
Toast.
And then this is the air switch valve that I'm going to also have to mount. Some of the guys actually now today, they mount these right on the handlebars.
Oh, and then they switch it on.
And then they just put a button on it and you just hit it. But then you got to run 2 air lines up to the front of the bike. And I think I don't want to change up the look of the bike that much.
Yeah.
So
Just a little quick flyover on today's work. Got our handlebar assembly going. Really happy with how all that stuff cleaned up and is looking. Got our primary mocked up, belt on, the little bearing support plate. Looking good. Got our air plunger in the end of the clutch pressure plate. And we got our pin spoiler all cleaned up, looking really nice and fresh compared to what it was looking like.
all right, guys, that's going to be a wrap for today. Pretty good progress. I'm happy with where this thing is headed. We still got, I think, maybe 4 or 5 more Saturdays between now and when we need to leave for St. Louis. So I'm really happy with where we're at. I don't see any problem with getting this thing done. I got a couple of parts on the way, some foot pegs and the rear tire. Matt's working on polishing up the wheel today, so that tire will be here this week sometime. And we'll be able to get this thing into a roller. And I don't know, that's about it. Plugging away on it and making progress I'm happy with. So I'm going to put together a little hardware order so we can get some nuts and bolts we need coming. And as always, appreciate you guys being here. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and get some cool motorcycle stuff under the tree. So appreciate you guys, and we hope to see you next time at Gaddy's Garage.